This video, we're going to talk about the number one vitamin that directly influences your mental health. Now, thinking is usually seen as a good thing, right? It's considered positive. But overthinking, especially when it drags on for too long, can become a serious issue. Particularly at night when you're trying to fall asleep, your mind begins to race. Thoughts take over, and you just can't turn it off. Why? Because you're trying to solve all of the world's problems. That's when thinking becomes toxic. This cycle of overthinking triggers the release of cortisol, your stress hormone. Just thinking about stress can activate physiological stress responses in your body. So the question is, what's the root cause here? Is it the hormones that drive your thoughts? Or your thoughts that activate the hormones? Honestly, it's both. They interact. But the problem is, many people get caught in this mental loop, constantly obsessing over one issue, unable to focus on anything else. They start imagining multiple scenarios, inventing new ways to solve the problem, sometimes even creating stress that wasn't there to begin with. That in itself is the definition of a disorder. Something unresolved. Eventually, you fall into what's called analysis paralysis. Or in simpler terms, you're trapped inside your own head. And that, right there, is the very definition of anxiety. Feeling tense, worried, restless. So, let's talk about a critical piece of the puzzle: nutrient imbalance. A deficiency in certain nutrients can make your brain spiral like this. And unfortunately, most people attempt to fix it with SSRIs, selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors. This class of drugs essentially prevents your body from losing serotonin. It holds onto it, chemically speaking. But here's the catch. It comes with a heavy package of side effects. And over time, these drugs dull the receptor's function, meaning you end up with an even greater deficiency than before. One of the biggest symptoms of low serotonin is obsessive problem solving. You just can't let go of certain thoughts or emotions. And SSRIs don't only affect serotonin, they also alter dopamine and other neurotransmitters. One of the most widely reported side effects is something known as zombie syndrome, a sense of emotional numbness. You stop feeling connected to the world. Some people even report a loss of interest or pleasure in things like sex. Now, I have a solution I want to share with you. But before that, if you're considering using these medications, you should be fully aware of their potential long-term effects. The root of the issue is almost always a severe deficiency in both serotonin and dopamine. So what did pharmaceutical companies do? They created a library of drugs that artificially manipulate these neurotransmitters, but not the cause behind the deficiency. Here's what reduces serotonin naturally. Medications, chronic stress, poor diet, lack of sunlight. And yes, that last one, sunlight, is critical. Because if you're not getting enough sun, you're probably not getting enough vitamin D. And that's where the real problem begins. During winter months, millions of people feel worse. And now, you know why. Vitamin D helps regulate serotonin. Its deficiency is linked not only to anxiety, but also to depression. One fascinating study even showed that vitamin D can be just as effective as antidepressants, but without the side effects. But here's another piece of the puzzle: your gut microbiome. If you've ever taken antibiotics and then suddenly felt depressed or anxious, you now know why. Certain bacteria in your gut are directly responsible for producing serotonin, and some strains are much more powerful than others. These specific strains are extremely sensitive to broad-spectrum antibiotics, and once they're gone, they don't come back on their own. When that happens, people stay locked in a state of stress without knowing why. So what can you do? I strongly recommend two things. First, start taking vitamin D immediately. And I'm not talking about low doses. You need at least 10,000 IU daily, possibly more, depending on your deficiency. And second, introduce a very specific strain of probiotic known as L. reuteri. L. reuteri is almost entirely absent in over 96% of the population, largely due to past antibiotic use. Don't just take a random probiotic pill. Most won't work. Instead, get this microbe from a proper supplement and make your own probiotic yogurt at home. That's how you'll reach the concentrations needed to actually fix this issue. Why is L. reuteri so special? Because it doesn't just help with serotonin, it also increases oxytocin, the hormone that lowers cortisol, your stress chemical. It's basically the antidote to everything we've been talking about. If you've been on SSRIs and now feel numb, if nothing excites you anymore, this may help you feel again. And yes, I've talked about this before in other videos, because it's that important. If you haven't seen it yet, I'll link the video where I show you how to make your own culture with L. reuteri in the description below.